welcome to the big showdown here in Shanghai. A fantastic race weekend in the DTM 2010, the last one. And now with me is reigning champion Timo Scheider. Timo, the season didn't quite go as well as you planned. 2010, summarize it for us. How was it for you?
Well, we struggled quite a lot straight away in the beginning of the season. So the first 3 to 4 races went quite bad for us. We struggled a bit performance-wise on the new tire compound we got. But in lap or race 5, I think we got it back, the performance, and that was a positive sign. Afterwards, we had some good races, some good quality performance, pole positions, and in Adria, the race victory. So for sure, it hurts a bit to give the title away after 2 years being on top. But that's like it is in DTM. For sure, we will fight back next year.
And now we're looking forward to a very exciting race weekend. Here are the highlights of the weekend. Enjoy.
Thank you, Farina. Yes, it's the showdown in Shanghai, this brand new racetrack around Century Park, and 3 drivers still in with a chance of the title. Yes, a huge city, Shanghai, of some 20 million people. This racetrack in the Pudong area, the new financial district, and the racetrack actually running round a huge new museum, this very fast right-hander there sweeping past the Museum of Science and Technology. In the background, some of the fantastic skyscrapers which now dot the skyline of Shanghai. Very tricky, typical street track, not much grip at all here, and mainly 90-degree rights and left, but the one very fast right-hander. Resta there had led the championship before the previous round at Adria. He still has a big shot at the title, as does Bruno Spengler. There is Resta. And of course, Gary Paffett still in with something of an opportunity. It's the 11th round of the DTM. The 10 previous rounds, of course, all in Europe. This new race around this track, just 1.5 miles round. 6 years earlier, they raced round that tower, actually, in an exhibition race. The man who won that was indeed Gary Paffett.
We raced there in 2004, but it will be a different circuit this time, a different part of the city, so it will be quite different, so it's difficult to know what to expect. But going to a new circuit, a completely new circuit, and especially a street circuit is always very difficult. They can be quite difficult to judge how fast the corners are and how much risk to take, because you have Armco barriers everywhere and no runoff. You have to be quite careful. So generally they are relatively difficult, especially if it's a new circuit to learn.
And in practice, Gary certainly showing a very good turn of pace, as was Marcus Winkelhock. Well, for me back then when we raced here before, it was something really special, driving my DTM car around those skyscrapers. I remember back then it was very hot. I think it was about 40 degrees. And in the car, of course, it was much more than that. Basically, I like city circuits. Well, you're driving very close to the walls all the time, just a few centimetres from the walls. For me, that's a lot of fun. I really like doing it. 2 Chinese drivers here.
First of all, it's going to be a mega event, I'm sure of that, and everybody gonna looking forward to this so much, and particularly we're going to race in the downtown of Shanghai and around all the expo centers, and I think the atmosphere and for the whole weekend is going to be incredible. And also as a Chinese driver to race in the home country, it just make it very special.
The other Chinese driver drafted in Darrell Young, but here's Matthias Ekstrom. Anyone who drives on the city circuit in Shanghai knows you have to be on very good terms with the wall. Normally there's hardly any grip on the track. That means you start the weekend by driving carefully, and at the end when the grip comes, well, you have to be prepared for it. With city circuits you often get very bumpy sections and normally only a narrow line for driving. Overtaking is usually very difficult, and there aren't any safety zones. So the smallest errors, well, you pay a very big price. And what about our track evaluation points-wise? 10 from Marcus.
Anything from 5 up to 9 maybe.
Schon 10 von Schwierigkeitsgrad.
And 10 from Matthias.
8.
8, they like it. 8.75, that's the best we've had all season. $18 racing cars, 2 DTM race taxis, 2 safety cars, spare parts, wheels, tools, over 300 tons in weight. And they have to travel some 9,000 kilometres. Here we are at the Frankfurt-Hahn airport in Germany, where the valuable DTM freight was loaded on board a Boeing 747 bound for Shanghai. 2 cars fitted together there and slotted into the inside of the jumbo. Already there was an advance party at the track, marking out everything, and a big logistics problem, of course, for the whole ITR team to get the cars here. There's those iconic buildings again, some of the tallest in the world, the famous Bund, where the Chinese like to walk. We had the lion dancing too. Timo Scheider saying it's going to be an extremely tough race. No one knows the circuit at all. I was here in 2004, but it's in a different place. But I like Pudong. There's so much going on around the track. I'm going to give it absolutely everything I've got, and I hope I can win this race. But of course, Timo came from victory in the previous round. They're the 3 men who can still take the title. Spengler with 66 points, the Resta with 63, and Paffett down there on 57. Nobody knows the circuit. It's all going to be very interesting. I'm going to give it all I've got and try and end up winning.
I've been an outsider for the last 2 races. I'm still an outsider, but I'm still mathematically in the championship. So 3 guys fighting for the championship in Shanghai is going to be interesting. So let's see.
What a qualifying session we had. It was quite a crash fest. European fans as well as the Germans here. In qualifying, Paul de Resta kept it off the walls and took pole position. His best possible start in his quest to take the title here.
You know, we came here very well prepared. The car's been working well and enabled me to fight for pole position, which is great, given that there were so many red flags. But tomorrow we need to stay focused, try and get the best start possible, and certainly try and think about the championship and our approach to try and win it and take it off Bruno.
Yeah, British Mercedes 1, 2 and 3. Paffett second and Jamie Green third.
It was a good session. I mean, it was tough, you know, red flag in each qualifying session. Puts a lot of pressure on the drivers and the teams to do a good job. And with the conditions we have here, the white lines are very slippery, the track hasn't got a lot of grip, so it's a challenge. So P2 is a good result.
Absolute disaster for Bruno Spengler. This crash in qualifying, following an incident in practice, put him to the back of the grid. And it stopped the practice. Another big shunt was the Canadian-born Chinese driver Darrell Young, who had taken over from, there he is crashing, he had taken over from Alexandra Pramat for a one-off drive. His car seriously injured. Spengler got out just at the end of qualifying. It was too late, running there with Ralf Schumacher's bonnet.
Today was a difficult day. I mean, I did a mistake in qualifying, which costed us for sure a top 5. I mean, I tried to brake a little bit later. We had a good pace. In qualifying, as always, you always try to find a few meters on braking.
Timo Scheider was the best placed Audi driver. He qualified in P4 despite this massive accident. Timo walked away uninjured.
Right now, so far, I know the car is quite hard damaged, but I'm really optimistic that the guys are able to fix it till tomorrow. I will support them and motivate them as so good as possible that we have a car to be on the podium tomorrow.
But it was Paul de Resta who started on pole. But what about the man who's carried the colours of China all season?
And now I'm here with Kong Fu Cheng. Now, Frankie, yesterday in the qualifying, that must have been very disappointing. You ended up in P16, so that means you're starting in P16 today. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, it's pretty disappointing qualify considering I had a pretty good morning on Saturday. The car feeling pretty competitive and I was feeling very comfortable with the car, with the circuit. And for some reason, whatever reason, and it didn't work out in qualify. I think it also shows that I'm probably a little bit less experienced compared to the others, so take a bit time to get used to everything. So this is what I have to learn.
Now, you're a rookie and it's your first season. If you were to summarize it, how did the season go for you?
I would say that very, very nice, and but pretty difficult. And I mean, DTM is a pretty tough championship. I think a lot of people know, like German fans, European fans, really understand how difficult it is. And we got a lot of great drivers with very good talent. And for me, considering my background, and which is not so much experience compared to the other European drivers. I mean, I went to England when I was 17, and so started racing there. So pretty late compared to the others. So this is definitely, I mean, I need to take time to really get used to with the car, with the circuit, and this I hope that I get a chance next year again.
Now, this is your home country, obviously, so you have a lot of friends and family here watching the race today. So far, your best result was 12th place. Can you top that today?
For me, I mean, we have seen enough on Saturday how many incidents we had, and but luckily none of our drivers really got hurt. So I mean, for me, that today would be nice to finish the race and to try to overtake few cars and cheer up the crowd. And for me, it's already really nice feeling to be able to race in China. And I know the promoter and the Mercedes and Audi pretty working very hard to make this race happen. So great job by them. And for me to finish the race and to finish on high would be very nice for my season, rookie season.
Thank you very much, Frankie. Best of luck for the race today.
So after the trials and tribulations of Saturday, track had been prepared for Sunday. Some of the white lines had been burnt off, but it was decided to start under a pace car. The qualifying had seen some 6 cars in the wall. Most of those had been repaired except for that of Darryl O'Young. There's that Museum of Science and Technology and a big underground station underneath that. The line dancing was well underway, and certainly some great memories, the drumming. But behind it all, of course, was the title chase, and Bruno Spengler very definitely on the back foot. Could he force his way through? It was going to be very hard indeed for the French-Canadian. Amazingly, Timo Scheider's car had been repaired, looked as good as new. Advent Sunday, and there, a little display. But let's check out the grid. Paul de Resta on the pole, Gary Paffett, his close friend, alongside him. On row 2, Jamie Green in the older Mercedes and Timo Scheider. Marcus Winkelhock, best qualifying of the year. Ditto, David Coulthard. Then it was Miguel Molina's had such an excellent first season. Martin Tomczyk going well in qualifying. Matthias Ekstrom and Oliver Jarvis completing the top 10. Then it was Ralf Schumacher with Susie Stoddart alongside Ralf. Mike Rockenfeller and Catherine Legg in the two older Audis. Then Mario Engel and Frankie Cheng. And bringing up the rear after that accident, Bruno Spengler. Grandstands packed, public roads of course, all with the English language on them to help all the tourists. There's the Audi R8 pace car getting ready. In fact, a slight delay for the start. And the decision had been taken to follow the pace car for 3 laps, and then for the next 3 corners yellow flags would be waved. In fact, the second half of the circuit seemed to have a lot more grip. I think the road's being used more. There were no supporting events here, so there was no other cars to put the rubber down. There's that circuit, and the race length would be a maximum of 1 hour, 2.465 kilometres. That's equal to 1.5 miles. There, the pace car coming. You see it very narrow in parts here. So the pace car is in there under the yellow flags for the first 3 corners, but they're up to racing speed. Look at Paul de Resta, no overtaking allowed, but you can go at full race pace. And very bumpy in that braking zone, as you can see. And the 3 Mercedes. 1, 2, 3. What about Spengler? Has not made any progress as yet because he is not allowed to overtake under those yellows. You see the slick nature of the circuit. So, it's all starting well for de Resta. Gary Paffett hanging in there. Everyone worried about a possible race stoppage because we had stoppages in all 4 sections of the qualifying. But this is a huge ask now for Spengler. It all went wrong for him in first practice when he just clipped a wall. Just too close to the apex of a bend, and then slid off and into a barrier in qualifying. And well, that is making it so difficult for him to chase this title. Of course, he's led the title for most of the summer. Then, of course, Paul de Resta came on strong, a couple of second places, followed by 3 first places in a row. Schumacher, Susie Stoddart going through. There's Spengler, he's passed a couple. Now chasing Catherine Legg. Although this was a very different racetrack, usual 2 mandatory pit stops. Just a replay here of the start. And that very difficult pit lane. In fact, where they wanted to run the pit lane, there was a building, so they had to go right behind the building, so a difficult run into the pits and a difficult S-shaped run out again. Again, still the replay of the start. Pit stop window, laps 15 to 45. We can see some very different strategies here. There's Jamie Green keeping the Audi of Timo Scheider, the 08 and 09 champion, at bay, but he makes an early pit stop. Tomczyk is another one who does the same. That long run into the pits. Spengler also making an early stop, trying to get himself a bit of fresh air when he comes out. And at these pit stops, losing best part of 3/4 of a lap to a driver. Here's the Scheider stop. 3.2. Another great performance by the Abt mechanics. And look at Tomczyk, 2.8 it said there. That will be one of the fastest stops we've ever had Spengler out in 3.3. What is going through the mind of that young man? He's been the runner-up in the DTM in the past. Audi TTs there, they were actually introducing the TT to China over the race weekend. There's Winkelhock going through, having one of his best runs of the season. Went well in Adria as well. There's David Coulthard trying to get down the inside of Spengler, who'd just come out the pits. And Molina also trying to get past DC, and he does it! Molina goes past the Scotsman, who said he liked street circuits, had a couple of wins at Monaco, of course, in the past. And DC going back, having a look down the inside, but it's very difficult here. David knows so much about street circuits, and he knows there isn't enough space quite there under the bridge again. So a few places to overtake round here, if anywhere at all. Let's go on board with Molina. At least he proves it can be done. Paul di Resta out in front. He's going to be worried about pace cars. Possible stoppages, anything like that would help Spengler a little bit, but Spengler not really making much progress, I should say. So Spengler a lap behind some of these cars, of course, having made his early pit stop. Scheider, a remarkable run from him. That accident in qualifying started at 220 kilometres an hour, and he ping-ponged off the side of the walls. A lot of cosmetic damage. Apparently the chassis, however, was still straight, but the boys had to pull the best part of an all-nighter to get it together again. And di Resta making his first pit stop now. Paul di Resta, Scotsman who tests for Force India, may be promoted to their full team next year, would love to go to Formula One as the reigning DTM champion. Anything happens to him, then, well, Gary Paffett could still snatch this title, because Spengler does not look as if he's going to get into a points-paying position. And that means he will not win the title. He could even drop to third. Di Resta, slow stop, not for the first time this season, and I think that will bring him out behind Gary Paffett when they cycle through all the pit stops. Paul does not need to win this race, though. At the moment, if they stay where they are, then it's looking very good for Paul di Resta. Let's look at his pit stop. Stops right on his marks. Bit of a problem with the right rear, which cost them a couple of seconds. The fuel, 20 litres, has gone in, and then man from Scotland departs. Paul, though, has a bit of clear air. Paffett leads at the moment from green, and Winkelhock. There's Susie Stoddart. Susie, who's scored points a couple of times this season. Another Scot, of course, originally from Oban. And there is Schneider, who's made his pit stop. There is Paffett, hasn't yet stopped. Gary Paffett, who won the original Shanghai exhibition race, which most people remember mainly because some of the manhole covers were sucked up by the aero packages of the car and were flying around. That racetrack was a little closer to the centre of the city. This track, as we said, around the Museum of Science and Technology and Century Park, quite close to the World Expo site, which just ended its run a couple of weeks earlier than this race. There's Spengler in for his second stop. Again, trying to get out into some clean air. But this is just not working for the French-Canadian. who spent most of his life in the Alsace, near the French-German border, and there he goes out in front of David Coulthard. Everything quite mixed up with these different strategies at the moment. Again, that very bumpy area. There's Martin Tomczyk having an excellent run today. And now Paffett right on the tail of Spengler. And Paffett certainly has the pace. Takes quite a long time to heat up your tyres from a pit stop round here. And Paffett through. And this is just looking terrible for Spengler now. That championship is going away from him. Paffett still leading. Car with the orange nose. Interesting to see Gary jumped into a McLaren Formula 1 car the other day at the Abu Dhabi test and was mega quick again. Missed his Formula 1 chance, sadly, because a man called Lewis Hamilton got in the way. Was up for that McLaren drive 3 years ago against Lewis, 4 years ago now. Well, there's a battle between the two Audis, and tails twitching round here. Timo Scheider, after a disappointing start to the season, has really been on fire for the second half of the year. Has always been the fastest of the Audi drivers, and has eclipsed the likes of Ekstrom. Of course, Timo won the championship in 08 and 09, hugely experienced. More pit stop action here from Jamie Green. Green goes out, Rockenfeller comes in. Paffett's on a completely different strategy. Surely he'll stop soon. Green has stopped now. Just have to be so exacting here, so easy to make a mistake. A lot of people feared that this would be a crash fest, but in fact everyone's kept their nose very clean so far. Not even any overshoots. Indicator going on Green's car. At least it was going in the right direction. He was turning left. The indicator said left. Here's Timo Scheider having a go at Green. But Green defending well. Jamie Green has been doing quite a bit of the tyre testing for the new rubber for next year. They switched from Dunlop possibly to Hankook. Has not yet been confirmed. No news either of the driver lineups for next season. Of course, they will stick with these originally 09 and 08 cars for a final year before they move into the new carbon fibre monocoque machines, when BMW will join in. So we hear possibly will Opel and maybe Nissan as Paffett comes in for the first of his stops. Gary, who now has a sizable lead, of course. Battle going on still between Green and Schneider. And they're assigned to the Pudong Expo. Pudong, the newer part of Shanghai. This was all just countryside less than 20 years ago, amazingly. Paffett then of that very twisty pit lane. But Paffett proving yet again he's a class act. But what about Paul de Resta, the man with the red mirrors? Tall Scot, second generation racer from a whole Scottish-Italian racing dynasty. Was quite upset after the Adria race where he was punted off by an Audi. Dropped behind Spengler in the championship, but well, this has been really a season of changing fortunes. Remember, Paffett led the very first race. Good move there by Tomczyk with Susie Stoddart. And they came very close. And again, Tomczyk looks down the inside, doesn't do it. Rockenfeller is there right behind them. And it's Winkelhock. Molina currently in the lead as he is yet to stop. Neither has Ekstrom, neither has Cheng. They're the only three who haven't stopped. Some drivers have stopped twice. So the field quite mixed up at the moment. Again, Tomczyk has a look. Susie's a tough racer. Here's David Coulthard. Spengler. Oh no, it goes from bad to worse. Spengler under investigation, I believe. That's for speeding in the pit lane. And, well, Tomczyk proves you can pass around the circuit, just goes past Susie Stoddart. Now Schumacher down there in 11th place, really in his third season on the DTM, hasn't sparkled. Replay of the Red Bull Cola car going down the inside, and Susie giving him enough room. Paffett then in for his second pit stop. This is looking so good for Paffett. Molina and Cheng yet to stop. Paffett goes in for his second. And out goes the C-Type Mercedes, 460 V8 horsepower, blasting the space frame racer forward. See that Audi hospitality there. They've got an Audi TT basically hanging off the top of the building. Audi doing a very big promotion here, as we said, launching the Audi TT here, and also at the same time launching a special racing version of it. Of course, it was the TT that Audi came back into the DTM with the private apt effort all those years ago, just as the DTM restarted. Cheng finally makes his stop. The Chinese driver has done a lot of his racing in Europe, came to Britain and raced actually originally for Tim Sugden's team when he was just 17 years old. Tim here this weekend to look after Daryl O'Young, but sadly O'Young, who's raced an Audi R8 successfully, has been racing in the WTCC, not making the start, too much damage to his chassis. Spengler right down there, just making no progress at all, and now with David Coulthard chasing him, and well, you can pretty well say that championship chance has gone out of the window. If they stop it now, I don't think we're 75% of the distance through yet, so they would restart. But as we said, we expected incident after incident in this race, and we've had a very clean affair. That right-hander is very, very fast indeed. There, Green in, as is Tomczyk for their second stops. Molina still staying out. Molina on this completely different strategy, keeping him at the front of the field. Mid 3-second pit stops for Tomczyk and Green. Here's Winkelhock. Marcus, who had a very disappointing start to the season, but has finished it off certainly with a flourish. And Tomczyk certainly having an excellent race here. Again, another man whose first half of the season wasn't that special. There is Green with Tomczyk. Tomczyk tries down the inside and dives down and makes it stick. Well, Tomczyk has found the key to overtaking here. Green has to give his best. Green has been running right to the front for most of the race. Well, good move by Martin Tomczyk. Molina still out there. We haven't seen much of the young Spaniard, the former World Series by Renault racer, who was drafted in for this season by Audi, has done a great job, as does Tomczyk there. And a barge board comes off the back, maybe, of the Audi. There is Paul de Resta coming in now for his second and his final pit stop of 2010, and he is oh so close now to that championship. They need to get this pit stop right though. Paffett, meanwhile, having an excellent race here, not putting a wheel wrong. And the way it's looking at the moment, Paffett could actually finish second in the championship. Started the season with a victory. Through that twisty pit lane comes Paul de Resta. Let's see if the boys can dispatch him in 3.3, 3.4 seconds. 3.6 it is, he's off. No problems. Scheider, meanwhile, comes in. And Paffett goes through. And de Resta emerges from the pits behind Paffett. Well, forget Molina, he's got 2 pit stops to make yet. David Coulthard currently up in second place. DC could finally finish in the points in this race. No points yet in his career in the DTM, but could do it here. Look very good in qualifying. Look at those bumps again. So easily lock up under braking. You see the shiny nature of the circuit. Quite late in the afternoon here. Race start organised to suit European TV times. So Molina, with this different strategy, stays out. Quite a few others up to Catherine Legg have not made their second stops. In the closing stages here, the temperature is also dropping. But I think the circuit is basically getting a bit more grip with the rubber that's gone down now. This narrow chute here. On the edge of their seats, that Audi. And Scheider giving them a good performance. Oh, problems for Frankie Chen. Cheng getting a drive-through penalty. 5 seconds actually stop.
The race, I think, went pretty well, except, unfortunately I got a penalty for crossing the pit of Audi. So that's, it just shows that I'm a little bit inexperienced. So which is, I paid a big lesson, but all year has been learning for me, and I'm looking forward for next season.
Here is Miguel Molina finally making the first of his pit stops. See that dome there? There's a 4D TV screen inside there, apparently. There's Molina then. What an outstanding first season he has had. That's the pits behind that building. Very unusual place. And of course, none of the team managers, engineers can actually see the racetrack, but they have the TV screens in front of them. And the people from the ITC did a magnificent job setting up the pits here. So, where will Molina cycle back in? At the moment, Ekstrom leads from Ralf Schumacher. Those two having not yet made their second stops, but really, it's Paffett who is in the lead from de Resta, Timo Scheider. And look at Tomczyk ahead of Molina, and Green dropping back. Well, now we cycle forward into the closing stages. And Ekstrom and Ralf Schumacher actually in the pits at the moment. They'll drop back down the field. But a good battle going on here. Look at Jamie Green still getting stuck in. Green trying to get past Molina. Winkelhock in that battle as well. There is Ekstrom's pit stop. Usually to slow down, come in the pits and go out again. Costs the driver about 20 seconds. Slight hiccup there from Ekstrom. But to here it's more like 50. Schumacher also right behind him. Ralf Schumacher doesn't look as if he'll finish in the points today. And look at Jarvis here. Jarvis down the inside. And Jarvis just making a move past to Ekstrom. And they've got David Coulthard right with them. And Coulthard trying to find a way round. So tight around this Shanghai street race track. Is on the calendar again for next year. Winkelhock trying to get past Green. It's not over yet for Winkelhock. Closing stages, just 12 minutes remaining. This race set for 1 hour. And Jarvis got a problem. Oh, Jarvis is pulling off. Well, it's been a hugely disappointing season for the young man. And there, look, there's something stuck in the front of David Coulthard's car. But there is Jarvis just limping. Oh, he's picked up a bit of debris as well, and he's locked his left front wheel. Now it's released. Well, stall for David Coulthard in the pits.
I just not enough RPM. I was sitting and I thought I had enough, but when I dropped it, it just bogged down and stalled. So obviously that lost me some time, which is a bit silly, but there you go, that's racing.
So Gary Paffett, this is the championship prediction. Resta will win the title with 71. Paffett will have 67, and poor old Bruno Spengler won't score a point at all. So he'll finish third in the championship. He's led for a sizable part of the season. Paul Resta just has to be so careful now. Can't afford to throw it in the wall. Happy to finish second. It will bring him his DTM title. Ever since he joined the series, he's been there or thereabouts. Remember, he came out of the F3 Euro Series and into the DTM. This is his 4th year now. Won that Euro Series, of course, beating Sebastian Vettel. Ekstrom 9th, Schumacher 10th, Susie Stoddart behind them. Timo Scheider right behind Paul Resta. Might give Resta a bit of a worry. Will Timo try and make a desperate lunge to get second place? And if he does and taps Paul Resta, well, the Scotsman's title hopes can be over just in a flash. There's Paffett's lead, 3.751 of a second. There's Timo Scheider worrying Paul Resta. You've just got to break it absolutely the right millimetre as you turn in. Got to worry about locking up tyres. Can't clip those walls. You can go very close to seeing the odd mirror taken off during qualifying. And there is Spengler, the nearly man again. Finished second in the championship a couple of years ago. But it's just not his day. Just never worked out right. Look at Rockenfeller, goes down the inside of Susie Stoddart. They touch, they spin, and they block the circuit. Spengler can't get through. Now this could bring out the red flag. We've only got 7 minutes left. Everybody sorts themselves out. But they could get going. The red flag has come out. It's all over. Paul Resta is the 2010 DTM champion right there. The race has been stopped. Paul Resta finishes second. That's good enough. Gary Paffett wins. 2 races have been held in Shanghai. The invitation race in 04 and this race. Gary Paffett has won them both. But that is it. Well, Mike Rockenfeller, it was only a little touch, wasn't it, with Susie? But it brought it all to a close here. Let's just see what happened again. There's Rocky going for the inside. Susie leaves a hole. They just tag each other, and then round they go.
Well, I was catching up. I tried to overtake. I tried to go on the inside. I locked up, and we touched. And we both won. Then the race was over.
Yeah, it was a close battle with Mike Rockenfeller, and I think he just lost the car under braking and hit the back of me, but he apologised immediately, and that was just a racing incident. You know, these things happen.
So here we see it again from Bruno Spengler's perspective. 75% of the race run, so full points. And Bruno nowhere to go. And he knows he's won it. There is Paul Resta. I am the number one. I've won the DTM. I set my heart on it. He's won championships before, but this is probably the biggest. And now cruising back towards the pits. And a great job done by the HWA team as well. Let's hear from Paul.
Fantastic feeling. One that I'm going to enjoy for a long time with my team, with my family. All the supporters that have been part of this journey to get in this championship. A lot of hard work this year's went into it. We put up a massive fight from the midpoint after we got off to a bad start. But yeah, we'll just enjoy the moments and try and go through the night, hopefully not too messy.
Let's check out the top 10. Paffett got Resta, Scheider, then it's Tomczyk, Molina, Green, Winkelhock, Coulthard, who's organising the party, I believe, Ekstrom and Schumacher.
We're still fighting for the championship in the last race, which is great. But Paul did a great job starting on pole. You know, he had to do some big mistakes to throw it away. So beating Paul was good, but also, you know, I scored enough points to beat Bruno in the championship, which for me is really good. To be second is obviously better than third.
And there they are on the podium, and let's hear now from Timo Scheider.
Finishing P3, being on the podium at the last race of the season is something nice. We take the performance we have had right now through the winter time, take it to next year and try to come back even better.
Yeah, and I'm sure he'll be a contender next year. Let's hear now from his boss.
We could show at the end of the season that we have the performance found back, and we concentrate now for next year, which is the last year with today's rule book, that we want to strike back and win this championship before we go into the new seasons with the rule books of the future.
Yeah, but we feel for Bruno Spengler, had an excellent season, just didn't come together on the final day. Meanwhile, Paul de Resta celebrated, and his team boss had this to say.
All the three would have deserved the championship. Also Bruno, obviously. He was leading the biggest part of the season. But at the end, Paul has a couple of points more, and that's why he deserves it. And thanks to everybody who made that happen.
Paul de Resta, DTM champion. They've got the flags ready. That was the final point score. De Resta was 71, Paffett 67, and Bruno 66. And there is the glass trophy. Don't drop that. Well, he's worked for this so hard. There's his girlfriend. They'll be celebrating long into the night.
Hello again. Now, we promised you a very spectacular showdown here in Shanghai, and that's what you got. Finally, the champion 2010 has been crowned, Paul de Resta. Very well deserved. And that's it from my side. That was the season 2010, and I'm looking forward to seeing you next year when the new season 2011 starts in Hockenheim in May. So see you then. Bye-bye.